concept. So what they are doing now is they buy Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin price go up. The latest rule of the accounting recognize that. Okay, so that also means their assets actually going up. The value of the assets.
But this is only recent. For
Yes.
the past 2 years, it's not, right?
Yeah. So what they do is the price go up, right? Sorry, the asset go up. So what they do is they create more share and sell it, so
Yeah.
that the price will go down. Okay, because more shares ma. So the price go down, but they have more cash already. So what they do with the money? Usually, other company they probably go to invest or do other things. But what they do here is to buy Bitcoin. Okay, they buy Bitcoin. So if you there is an analysis, right? So there's a new analysis. People call it BPS, Bitcoin per share. You can Google or you can go to Twitter and do
Yeah.
something like BPS or Bitcoin per share. So interesting thing about MicroStrategy is even though they created more and more shares right throughout these 3 years, but their BPS going up. So that means the moment that they created a lot of shares during the bear market allowed them to buy more Bitcoin.
But
So
the difference is this, what you say just now, right, is only applicable to the last year. Because there are 3 years. The first 2 years is not. You see, the first 2 years, where do they get the money from?
oh no, they borrow money. So okay, so the story. Yeah. Yeah. But that is not that's optional, yeah. So the convertible is an optional notes. Okay. I think that's important concept. But okay, let's go back to 2020 June, right? So MicroStrategy come out and say buy Bitcoin. And that time they have, if my memory serves me right, that time they have 500 million cash. Okay. So they say they want to buy Bitcoin. And I think they bought 250 first batch or maybe 200. And then the other batch, they bought already a lot. And then they think, okay, what should we do with the remaining cash? Important concept, the remaining cash. And then they decided to go all in. So that is the first era, right? They bought everything with their
Yeah.
cash. So KF, you're right. That was 2020 June. And then I think September, they borrow 600 million or something like that, right? And then they buy Bitcoin. That is to borrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They borrow it and then they buy. And then after a while, they borrow another, I think 1.2 billion to buy Bitcoin. I think that is 2021, maybe February already, the time frame. And then, so you see, they start with cash. They run out of cash,
Yeah.
then they borrow money. So that is where
Yes.
the bond and the convertible notes comes in. And then the third phase, they become so smart. They say, why not I just create more share? So if possible later I will find something for you guys. There's the spreadsheet people prepare, right? The standing of those share different across different period. Sorry. And then the number of Bitcoin that they have, and then the PPS. So the first so-called epoch is they use cash. Second epoch is they borrow money. The third epoch is actually they create more share, and then but creating more share, he will sell it, right? And when he sell it, the price will
And you
go
get
down.
the cash. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he get the money, he buy Bitcoin. Okay, and now with the latest law of US start to recognize the profit and loss of Bitcoin, Bitcoin becomes like
Profitable.
real assets, especially now
Yes.
profitable. So Bitcoin price go up, their stock share price go up. So what they need to do is to create more share to sell, because the higher the price they create, you see for now it's 1,001. If you sell, then every share you sell 1,001 and then you go and buy Bitcoin. And then he just rinse and repeats just that for the past probably like half a year or 1 year. He does that. So I think that's what he does. So Iman, I'm not saying that you must, but you can consider just to do this as a
As a case study, lah. Yeah.
case study and the blueprint for any other companies who want to do a similar thing.
But there's a difference. No, the underlying thesis of this is if the country increase interest rate, then the companies within the country have to grow because you have to borrow because borrowing become expensive. Now, if you need to borrow to grow and you don't have money to grow, you need to borrow. But then you don't have money, how are you going to buy Bitcoin? This thesis doesn't work in this particular scenario.
Yeah. So maybe the question is, what you want to do with the thesis, Iman? Is like, must you touch about the interest rate, or you can find anything related to Bitcoin?
Yes.
One one point, Iman. Sorry, one point. Actually, what MicroStrategy is doing is applicable to the whole world, any company in the world. Because what he does is actually an arbitrage of, let's say, the real world, getting the money, right, to buy a real assets that we are seeing the assets itself will go up in value. So I think any company, it's just like any individual or any country. You see, El Salvador and MicroStrategy, they are actually very very similar, right? So the arbitrage on the knowledge about the people don't know Bitcoin yet, and they just basically get more money, like figure out how to get money to just buy more Bitcoin.
You think on this thing you also have to be very careful because if if your company doesn't have a lot of money and you buy Bitcoin and then you hit the bear market and then you have no money to grow and then you cannot sell because you say you lose money and then end up because you buy Bitcoin you have no more cash and then you sell you lose money, your company died because of buying Bitcoin. Can happen also.
Yes. So I think this is also a very good thing to put into the thesis, right? So if any company wants to do that, how they want to do it? What is the strategy? So if you ask me, there's a very solid strategy to this. And in fact, if you really think about it, right, if you're in Bitcoin long enough, everyone should be already all in. Let me tell you how. So if we look at individual, right? For example, I need, I don't know, $10,000 as a emergency fund, for example, right? So I use US dollar so that everyone can imagine the number right easily. So if I have 10,000 dollar US dollar as an emergency fund, and the rest I put into Bitcoin, okay? And any point of time, after 3.5, 4 years, your your pot inside the Bitcoin will grow at least 2 to 5, if not 10x. Okay, And there should be a time that your Bitcoin balance is more than 10,000 USD. Okay. And when you reach that your Bitcoin pot is more than the emergency pot, which is the $10,000. Basically, what you can do is convert the emergency pot, the $10,000 fiat into Bitcoin already. Why? Because the Bitcoin cycle, the 4 years things, like it or not, although you say like only 15 years, but it never go down. There's none of the coin which is more than 4 years making a loss. None, any point of time. Okay. So basically, it also means if let's say now after 4 years, your Bitcoin pot more than $10,000 and you need cash. Okay. So now before that, sorry, you converted everything fiat to Bitcoin already. So you are now 100% in Bitcoin, personally, individually, or corporation. Okay. And now touch wood, sorry, you need some money. What you can do is just sell some Bitcoin to get the emergency fund, the 10K. And like it or not, the 10K that you sell in Bitcoin, it was the first one that you bought 4 years ago, let's say, and it's already 2, 5, or even 10x or more. You got me? And actually, in any point of time, anyone more than 4 years, they should be able to go into Bitcoin 100% comfortably. Because whatever money that you put in Bitcoin, whatever that you save is going to grow up 2, 5, 10x in 4 years' time. You just keep doing that. That happens to many of my friends who was a very early adopters, and start to happen to myself, right? And some of the people that I know. And I think I was reading something. I'm not sure if I like it. There was a a post by someone, I can't remember exactly who, also say that, right? So if you are corporations, you save 3 years of your company um capital, or money that you need, 3 years, right, in fiat. But to me, I think that's too much. But never mind, 3 years. That 3 years is enough for you to cushion the bear market. Okay. And then you keep DCA or whatever into that, right? Even though it's a corporation, and there'll be a time, even though you're in the bear market, you start to making profit nicely when it start to going up, just like individual. Right? I think Iman, if you want, right, this the first thing, the MicroStrategy, how he got those money and how he make his company a Bitcoin company, right? And also what KF mentioned just now, like how to weather the the bear market. I mean, as a strategy, right, and an approach could make your thesis this is solid, I think. You can use some sorry, you can use some numbers, right? Let's say, for example, 2012 you got into Bitcoin, right, as a company, and how much you need to reserve, and then until 2015, how does it look like, or 16, right? And then after that you keep projecting, and then the other company come in at, I don't know, 216 or 17, even worse, right? Top of the uh let's say, is it 2021 or 2020, the top of the bull market, right? You also can have
21.
the third case, right? So imagine, Iman, you have three case that is imagine a company that's we imagine, right? And then it come in, let's say, neutral time, and then bear market time, and then by coming in at the top, and how it performs with the, let's say, 3 years period with the reserve, and how it looks like into the future. Yes.
your reference lah, you know. Yeah. Mm. Of course, of course. In fact, I'm curious. In Indonesia, right? Do they have this fair accounting treatment if you buy Bitcoin, where the price go up? Does it count as your unrealized profit, or when it go down? You know, in US, they only recently, end of last year, they have this fair accounting treatment. Previously, they cannot, because if the price go down, they consider loss already. Even if it go up, they don't care. So does it apply to Indonesia? Mm. I think you would you may need to interview some accountant also, ask them how do they treat assets like Bitcoin. Then you may have a clearer picture. Yeah. I mean, if you do not know how the accounting in Indonesia treat Bitcoin as an asset, right? Then you cannot propose. What if you propose a case that is totally detrimental to the company if you do not know how the asset is being accounted for? Is it? Because previously they have, yeah, not just stakeholder. I'm talking about accountant. I'm talking about accountant because previously, right, MicroStrategy have this issue where when they buy Bitcoin, when the price go down, they lock in them as loss, you know. So because of that, right? Michael Saylor have a huge conviction. That's why he can weather. But no other company will be able to do that, because you cannot just buy Bitcoin when it go down. Even if you're willing to hold it for 4 years, right? It doesn't matter, because when it go down, they count as loss already, you know. So that was a very big problem until recently, when they have some this fair accounting treatment, where they rectify the accounting. So the accounting part is a huge variable to consider. If you do not have that information, then it may not work at all. Hmm. Unless the individual already believe in Bitcoin, If the individual doesn't believe in Bitcoin, there's no way they're going to put their company into it. So it is still start with the first step, whether the individual thinks that Bitcoin is something that is relevant to them, you see, as an individual. Then, yeah. Mm, mm.
Hey, Iman, sorry, I couldn't understand your question, but I have some perspective to share, right? So, um, if you say that we, the corporation, the company, or even individual, they need Bitcoin because it's, I don't know, number go up, right? I think that is probably just one aspect. It's just like you're saying this Nvidia is going so much, every company need to have Nvidia stock, right? You see that? So number go up is actually not the best thing to say to me, I think, as far as a corporation. But I think another perspective is besides the number go up, it also what do you call it? Disconnect actually, or sorry, I can't find the word, that you are not correlate to the existing financial system, right? For example, if you have whatever stock, like as a company, right? As you see, company not buying gold. There's no company that I know they own gold, right? So, but to Peter Schiff, every company or everyone need to have gold, right? So so then we need to understand why a company need to adopt the Bitcoin strategy. Although a big part of the reason is the number go up, right? I think we also sorry, it's also that you don't have the Silver Gates bank kind of situation, right? You don't have the government confiscate your assets. For example, you are operating a business that government doesn't like, right? And also, when you want to purchase something from your supplier and you are not allowed because of sanction, think about Russia or Iran, right? Things like that. So I think Bitcoin in this case, besides the very important thing number go up, it also has a lot of quality that a company should at least have some, right? For example, the confiscation from government because they don't like your business, they want to freeze your account, then you suddenly don't have anything. Or you're Iran. So let me tell you a story, right? So that we'll come back to Iran. I have a colleague from Iran, and he already moved to Netherlands for I think 3 4 years. Before he moved, the reason he moved is because there was a time that Malaysia, because of the sanction, they need to close down all the Iranians bank account. So from then he has to take cash, and he can only have cash. And until a point of time, sorry, until a point that he can no longer comfortably easily live just using cash. He left Malaysia, right? He left Malaysia. He was from Iran. So is he sanctioned? If you don't know, it's like it's not our problem. During the Russian war, the time, you know, every Russians who they have their credit cards issues in Russia, even though they are already not within Russia, got cancelled, right? Got sanctioned. And whoever that their card does not registered or issued in Russia, but the time that they go to Russia and use it also got cut down, right? So those risks are real, right? When although the what I call it probability is low, but the significance is high, right? So I think you think about a few way a company they probably can take advantage of the properties of Bitcoin is also something that you might want to consider in your thesis. But actually, even actually until now, I don't know what you try to do with your thesis. There's I try to read through it, and even the conversation just now, I don't get a very direct and clear objective of what you want to achieve. This is m- must you sorry, Iman, must you use a a case like a company in the Indonesia, or it can be anywhere? Yeah,
Oh, I think I also true.
yeah. So I you Im- Iman, 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 Iman. I think this is important, right? You first need to understand the parameter and the context of what you want to do, right? This is like what Kev say. If let's say you can only do, let's say, this is a company in Indonesia, then like what Kev say, you need to understand how the accounting works, right? To have a more compelling story. However, I think regardless of how the accounting works, owning Bitcoin, I mean, that's is the right thing to do. I'm not saying that you must be 100%, right? It's just like, think about it. If everyone on earth owning Bitcoin is good for them, like individual, and every country owning Bitcoin is good for them, right? For country level, I believe every corporation owning Bitcoin is good for them, right? Regardless of where you are, how the accounting works. But however, I think you first need to iron out those detail, the context and the parameter of your thesis, or otherwise you cannot pinpoint or how to proceed effectively and efficiently. I think
Yeah.
no, it's not challenge. You can just check with your lecturer or whoever, right? So you say, okay, so I'm going to do this thing. I want to do a thesis about Bitcoin. And in fact, the thesis maybe not necessarily to do with corporations. We can just talk about the price model, price action of Bitcoin, any assumption that someone has about Bitcoin or yourself have, and your vision, right, about it, and why that thing is reasonable. Then that is your thesis, right? So to me, like I always talk to KF, right? My thesis about Bitcoinized world, the Bitcoin standard world is everything will become cheaper and cheaper, including someone's salary, right? And then my thesis is in the Bitcoin world, there will be little to none debts. Like the debt system will be like little to none, or the duration of the tenure of the debt has to have to be shortened. Right? This is my thesis. And how we reach that, the conclusion, like together with KF, also remember KF, how we reach
Yeah.
that to the conclusion is very logical. And why I personally like to do this kind of thing is I like to speculate about things, right? And until I read the book, uh, The Sovereign Individual, right? You probably should read it or you have read it. It was written by two guys. I think one guy is called Thomas, the other one is I don't know what. These two guys, they wrote the book back in 1997, I think. And that time, the internet was so new, right? Most people don't even use internet yet. And they managed, right, 1997, to portray a future, right, that is so close to what we are seeing now and even further. And how these two guys managed to, based on the internet and based on the game theory and everything, they are not just speculate about it. It's really about trend. They see the trend and they ask themselves, okay, if this is going to happen, and if everyone is going to do this, how would the world look like? Boom, they got the answer. They come up with a vision. And then their thesis has been proven right for many of things, right? And they also predicted things like eCash, like which is Bitcoin, right? I think it's a very interesting book that I suggest you guys to really look into that, right? It also predict that, for example, government is going to either become mega government or become so small, right? It's only these two way. One is because of the internet, things has to because some reason, right? Things the government couldn't maybe even tax people, or the government have this CDBTC that made them so big, right? So we come to the juncture. Bitcoin is the juncture and the junction for us to choose, between Bitcoin and CBDC. These two guys talk about those things in the book. So I think that is what I call like it's a book, right, with full of thesis just based on internet. They predicted things like YouTuber and this crazily rich individual, just doing things that other people like, and then they become crazily rich. They also talk about it. Right? So I think Iman, I understand if you want to do something about Bitcoin, then you need to pick one topic. I think pick one vertical, right? Because Bitcoin is so many faces, right? And you pick one vertical, and from there you also need to understand your context and parameters. And the parameters is something that you can easily check with your lecturer or whoever, right? And then from there you have a solid, let's say, a foundation where what are the things that you can touch, you cannot touch, what are the things that you want to focus more, and then from there you build your thesis. So come up with a vision and what are the stories to support your thesis, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and then if possible come up with some factual things to support it, especially now with 15 years and a lot of things happening with the world, right? Not only individual, but now we have corporations. Not one corporations, we probably have like 50 corporations. Not only corporations, miners, public listed miner, how they use fiat money to fund their operations and then they get Bitcoin, right? And why there are so many miners, knowing that the price, the issuance is getting lesser, but they still want to come, right? So all those things, there are a lot of insights if you think about it and guess. Let's say guess. I mean, it's always there will be involving a lot of guesses and things like that. And then country, El Salvador. You see, we live in such an era that a lot has happened, you know, and they give us some data point, and also I think cause and effect for us to examine how the future could look like. I probably too much. do you sorry, do you need something that is original? Well,
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, both of us can only give some perspective, lah. Eventually, uh, there's no. You have think about it way longer than what we can, is it? Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, but no, I mean, this is no easy task, lah. I would say. I have never written a thesis before, so I think I also understand why they want you to link it. You must have something to do with Indonesia because you are studying there. If you are not talking about something that related to Indonesia, then it may not make a lot of sense. You see. But if you want to do something that relate to Indonesia, it may not even be something that can do now. I mean, you could actually propose them some ideas about is a commercial ideas about Bitcoin that you cannot do now, but perhaps if you can do now, it will be very beneficial to Indonesia commercially as well. You see, because when you're talking about Indonesia, you have so much volcanoes. Hey, El Salvador have so much volcanoes. They can actually use geothermal to go and now they can start to mine Bitcoin. See, I don't know whether Indonesia can do that, is it, or never, or people are even thinking about that. See, like to be able to access energy is so important now. If they know how to utilize it, like. Yeah, it could be a very practical business case. You see. Imagine nobody thought of this or everything is possible. Then you give them idea, people actually take the idea and run with it. who knows, after you present it, some people start calling you, hey, I think I need some advice.
Exactly. I think maybe there's even a better topics to go with, right? Let's say, what should the Indonesia energy company do with Bitcoin mining?
Yeah, how Indonesia can take advantage.
Yeah,
That's very practical.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, to take time to digest, see which one is relevant to you, Yeah. Oh, I know this is just like a brainstorming session, you think about it, see whether it's relevant,
Yeah.
and in what way you can make it relevant also. Not so simple because you have other condition to meet, right?
Good luck, Iman.
Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So I think okay lah. I think it's enough for today. Then we see how later lah. Mhm. Yeah.
I I read from the chat room that Priya say Indonesia is not going to have one. Priya say in the room that he said Indonesia is not going to have one. Yeah, yeah. Well, at least that's why. Yeah, but at least that's why he's wait okay. He said it in the speaker room. Say yeah because he said yeah he said Dia told him she has decided to move it to 2025. I think. Yeah, let's see. You should come here. You should you should come here September because 17 is going to come. Okay, we need to plan something for it.
Mhm.
We need to do the book signing ceremony. Se- Se- September 17 is going to come for some conference, and we should also get him. He agree also to have a meet up with us. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we will keep you update with the date lah to see whether it's the actual date, whether the timing, all this thing lah. Yeah.
Okay, bye bye.
Oh, thanks.